Friday, May the 13th, 2022. How art you? Wake movement. Still working on the hand gesture. How can we do it? Oh, let's start like this. The M. We gotta start with the W. Wake. Move. Wake movement. That looks a little gay. Um, we can't call things gay. Although I have sisters, twins. They're so beautiful. They go to Brown University. The most woke. Wake is different than woke. And woke used to being conscious, aware of stuff, and now it's gone to being totally co-opted, as everything gets co-opted. Black Lives Matter. Like, yeah, I can get behind black people being empowered and recognizing their suffering. So I got totally co-opted to go around and calling every white person a Nazi and punch a white person because you could just call him a Nazi. That's a great name call that we see Putin says that he's denazifying Ukraine, which is actually run by white nationalists. I don't want to say nationalists. White nationalism is a title that I don't want to discard. But there are white supremacy is something. Any supremacy we should get rid of. There's such thing as in our Bible totally supports supremacy for the people who wrote the Bible. Go figure. So, in order to combat that, so then we take our own tribe and we say, no, we're better. Well, we're better than our God's better than your God. The Bible got half the world to abandon their ancestral religion, heritage, traditions, wisdom, and worship a foreign God that hates them. The Old Testament, even the New Testament, talks about how horrible, disgusting, less than human, opposite of supremic is the Gentile, the non-Hebrew Israelite, and whatever Mesopotamian tribe that is. Seems like they go back to Babylonia during the captive of Egypt. Dog, Moses, if that was true, which is totally myth, fiction, a foundational nation story, mixed up with a lot of astral myth, pasted onto myths before them that were pasted onto the stars. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Perseus is the current Greek one that we have mapped out in stars right now. It's the sun through the 12 labors. It's 12 pillars, 12 posts, apostles, tribes. Buddha had 12 followers. Mitra had 12 battles. Hercules. These are all heavenly, celestial things that aren't literal. They make them literal so that they have us follow their script in their scriptures. Yeah, there's some beautiful wisdom. There's also beautiful wisdom to be found in looking at a freaking flower, something etched on the side of a freaking subway. Friday the 13th. 13 is a feminine number, oddly enough, because it's an odd number. So even numbers are Eve, and then Odin, odd, Adam, at one, atone, to come together as one. Adam, Dom, Tom, Thomas, the twins. Didymus, Ditto. So atom is not 2, 1. 13 is an odd number, but it's associated with the 13th apostle, Mary Magdalene. They killed a French, Jacques de Molay, who I think was a Rosicrucian Templar, very well crypto. The Jesuits are known for being crypto Jews. This guy, Sabbatai Levi, who said that he was the second coming, the Moshiach ben Joseph or David. And he taught redemption through sin. So instead of reserving the Sabbath, Saturn's Day, which is very heavily venerated in the religion that worships on Saturday, so they would take the day off and not do anything in reverence to Saturn, paying him homage. So what this Kabbalistic wizard Messiah figure, who got 1 million followers, half of Europe, that's not some fringe little sect. So he got in trouble with the authorities, and they did a mass conversion to Jesuitism within the Catholic Church. And then the one before him did it to the Khazarian area religious leader. He converted to Islam when he got in trouble with the political figures. A mass conversion. I believe that's where we get the Ashkenazi from. And I think it's in Turkey, Anatolia, perhaps, that area. Okay. Jacques de Molay got killed on the 13th. This sect, the Templars, were known for revering Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene is the archetype of the priestess of the temple, which would initiate candidates into through a sexual initiation ritual. And I believe this happens without the ejaculation, the spilling of the seed. Even in the Bible and in law through the Jewish religion, if you spill your seed, and it's called, there's a Latin word for it because it's a thing in the church. There's this guy named Onan, O-N-A-N, which I believe is reference to Orion, because from his spilt seed is mixed together with Pleiades and Taurus is where we get life. The Lamb, Aries, the start of the new year, which is right in that area. And so in Orion's belt, he has what's called a sheath, or his small dagger, which is like 3 or 4 stars. It's a cluster right below his belt. They said that's his penis. The 13th part of Osiris. No, so Osiris, which is Orion, got chopped up into 13 pieces by Set. Osiris did, by his brother Set. The Club of Set is the Big Dipper, and its traversing makes up a swastika, which has to do with the 4 seasons and the shape that Orion, the Club of Set, or the Big Dipper, or the bear. Its tail goes around the center of our pole star, which is always likened to God because it stays still. The upper heavens surround the pole star. A snake, a dragon named Draco surrounds the pole star. And then at the bottom, we have Hydra, the serpent at the bottom, in the lower heavens. In the middle heavens, we have where our planets, the sun and the moon traverse a 32-degree band. And then we go from the middle heavens to the upper heavens. I think there's 4 because it's 4 times 12 is our classic constellations. No, I think there used to be like 66 constellations, traditional ones. Anyways, we'll have to look into that further. So 13, Osiris got chopped up into 13 pieces. And then Isis, who's the star the star Sirius, where the manger scene is, where the 3 kings, which are the 3 stars in Orion's belt, points to Sirius, who is Isis in ancient Egypt, who is the consort of Osiris, who blinks, is the brightest star in the night sky, gets associated with the Virgin Mary. Up, rising before her, Procyon, before the other dog star, and it's called the lesser dog. It's not as bright, it's more blurred, and it blinks as well. And they look like they're crying and mourning the tomb, Osiris's Orion's constellation, going down the river. Osiris gets killed by his brother Set twice. The first time he gets put into a coffin, sent down a river. It grows up in a tree, like a tree of life. Isis retrieves him, and then Set chops him up into 14 pieces. The weeping Mary's at the tomb of Jesus. Mary, the Virgin Mother, Mary Magdalene, who is called the blurry-eyed star, Procyon, as opposed to the weeping star. These are the 2 widows weeping at the tomb of Christ, because Mary Magdalene. Now, Mary Magdalene is known as Nephthys, the lesser dog star, the blurry-eyed one, who was the twin and sister of Isis, who was married to Set. She was barren, couldn't have children because Set is related to the planet Saturn, which is Father Time, Saint Joseph. He's old and not able to have a child. Set, in this story, gets together with Isis, but in the old story, Nephthys dressed up as Isis to trick Osiris into having sex with her. Anyways, Nephthys is known as the Lady of the End. This also goes into Esther. She was known as Astarte, she was known as the Lady of the Inn, which is a prostitute. The sacred prostitute of the temple, Nephthys, who brings you into the inner mysteries. Isis at the hallways, the mother, and leave the mother to find a woman and become one, which is Nephthys, the darker one. The sexual, introductory, mystery, ritual priestess. Through teaching you how to have more than just a lower base orgasm, where I think we bring that up so that we have a cosmic orgasm. And it happens through becoming one through the 2 opposites, which is the lesson of the Kabbalist tree of life, the right and the left pillars of Joachim, the moon, the sun, the feminine and masculine. The middle path, we bring that up. Some say they go through the right-hand path or the left-hand path. The left-hand path is they go through taboo stuff. I create my own. I become God, which ye are gods. But there's the left-hand path is like, okay, instead of joining together with the Godhead and becoming one, you dissolve. So what they do is, that's 10, the 10th Sephirot. So they go from 9 to 11, skipping 10, and then start their own 10, which is the 9/11 ritual. is jumping out of the body that we're in, which is Adam Cadmon, which is androgynous, which is the matrix that makes up this reality, where there's life and death, suffering, pain. You jump out of that from 9 to 11, and then you come back down 11 to 9. No, you come back down as 1, which is why you take down the 2, and then you erect the 1, which is black magic. It's a thesis, antithesis, thesis, and then synthesis, the Hegelian dialect. So what they do is they introduce a problem, give you their, like, okay, we're going to introduce, and we're an act where we're going to have the right to take away any privacy that you have as a citizen. And we're going to call it the Patriot Act, which is the patriots who found this country. If they would have read that act, surely they'd act a fool. So you would never agree to taking on this total imposition of our personal freedom and privacy from our government unless we introduce a problem such as 9/11. Bam. Thesis. We're going to protect you from this terrorist attack, which was totally orchestrated by the powers that be. Not 9 Arabs with a box cutter, 7 of them from freaking Saudi Arabia, and then so we go to war with who? No, Afghanistan. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Saudi Arabia is our ally, since we threw out Saddam Hussein because of those weapons of mass destruction that we never found because it was a lie. It's the guy with the whole anthrax thing. Colin Powell holding up a vial of anthrax. Well, that was enough to make us all say, let's go to war. Another lie. Pumped to us by our media. War propaganda didn't just go away one day. The military-industrial complex didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what? Owning the media and pushing our war narrative on both sides of the news spectrum and pumping it into all our movies and stories. Pro-war propaganda, whatever we want you to be against propaganda isn't working. So we're going to stop doing it one day. One day they just decide that they all had to come into Jeebus. The fuck out of here. Namaste. Okay, so we're going into a full moon lunar eclipse. Whatever, I'll be going on one. I'm not going to apologize. I got a lot to say. I can't believe they're letting me stream. Yes. So this full moon lunar eclipse, Sunday night at midnight, blood moon in the sign of Scorpio. 25th degree, which is opposite of the 25th degree of Taurus, where the sun is. And our north node, the nodal axis, is why we have the eclipses when they touch on that during a full or new moon. So now the full new moon eclipse right now, a solar eclipse would happen when the sun and the moon were together in Taurus, which that just happened a couple of weeks ago. And it was partial solar eclipse, but it was still, and then we hit Uranus, that's electric energy being stored up. And now with this full moon eclipse, I feel like the full moon is a release. The new moon is the planting of the seed. The insertion of the penis. And then the orgasm is the full moon. Everything's sexual talk. Not Freudian sexual. I got totally fucked up. I don't know why we made him the harbinger of truth. He didn't come up with psychology. The unconscious and the subconscious realms and the psychoanalytical process, not created by fucking Freud. Every Greek myth is about it. Namaste. Namaste. I'm not going to go. So, this is in Scorpio, which is the sign of psychoanalytical, deep diving to see what toxic behavior, mind frame, emotional trauma that needs to be healed through an infinite, unfathomable, unquenchable abyss of mercy, forgiveness, gentleness, grace, feminine aspects. Scorpio is a feminine sign. Taurus is a feminine sign. We're on that axis. This also has to do about our value, what we value, and how other people value us, and resources, finances, money, our money, and then other people's money. How other people are handling our money, how we're handling other people's money. That's Scorpio. It has to do with wills, inheritances, the money you marry into, which is kind of a private thing. You keep your money in a bank behind a door. Sex, Scorpio type thing happens in private behind the door because it's after the sun sets. Libra, but right behind the door is what's behind the scene in the subconscious, which is where our emotional realm works at, especially. And so, world of water sits underneath the surface, the crust of the earth, the material plane. Often our feelings down here, when they're not dealt with, erupt into a way that gets us in trouble in the material realm. But it's also very powerful when you could channel that, healthy boundaries, and then you get to create a stream of wealth, of influence. Scorpio's maybe the most powerful sign. When it can look down on its emotions and then use that emotional realm for creativity, inspiration, strength, nourishment. You channel that energy. You light up those waters and with the fire of purification, courage. You bring the Leo to the serpent. You see, there's a image of Yaldabaoth, the god that has the face of a lion, like a sun, the tail of a dragon. That's pointing to the Leo Scorpio square. The fixed square, face of a lion, tail of a bull, Taurus, fixed sign. Head of a man, Aquarius, opposite of Leo, the fixed signs. When you want to fix something on Earth, you tap into the fixed energy. Earth, the bull of Taurus, fixed Earth. The Taurus bull is why a Pope puts out a papal bull when he wants to stick something into Earth. It's time to plant the seed in Taurus season and put the plow and the bull to the field to stick it into Earth so that it comes to fruition and it sticks longer. But everything is ultimately in transition. Taurus is about, which is in focus right now. That's where the sun is and where the north node is, where we're heading. The south node is where Scorpio is, what we're getting rid of, what we're shedding. A very scorpionic theme. What's toxic, what fangs are stuck into us, pumping us full of poison. And we can chop off the head of it right now, especially with this eclipse, which is coming down, chopping the head off of this poisonous snake that we're carrying around that's sucking out our fucking energy because of an unhealthy attachment, often addiction to a toxin, self-sabotaging behavior because it stems from a mental habit that we created from an emotional trauma that we're trying to heal in a roundabout way. And then because we're afraid to walk without that crutch that we created to help us through really embracing fucking suffering in the times we've been hurt, neglected, abandoned, rejected. The fact that fucking we have to die and sickness is in the state of things. To not feel sad about that is to be devoid from fucking reality. That's why Scorpio can be intense and it feels deeply, and it could hurt itself deeply, and it gets hurt deeply. But when it could not use that energy to just fucking poison itself, it could focus it when it steps up into the eagle, which is another symbol for the Scorpio, when it could have an above the ground, above the muck view on things, stepping up to have an objective view, to not let our emotions take us over, to choose which emotion we want to feel, and then dive into it and fucking make a big ass splash where the fucking downfall is a beautiful outpouring of your grace that you shed upon this fucking world in a way that only you can, no one else. This is what you came here for right now. The power of this transmutation, this metamorphosis, this shedding of our cocoon that we felt so safe in, never experiencing what it's like to spread our beautiful butterfly wings and fucking fly because of fear, by buying into this matrix of fucking fear that they're trying to fucking contain us in. Oh, no one else is doing it. Oh, they get made fun of. Oh, there's a time to go into hermit mode and to discern what's right and what's wrong. And then, when you're right about something for so long, you have a responsibility to go out and to teach about it and talk about it. You might get ostracized. I know. And they tell religious people, like, well, they're going to give you a hard time, and you know that you're on the right side. Yeah, I'm giving you a hard time for condemning 90% of humanity to hell. All right, so let us, so Osiris is chopped up into 13 pieces. Isis and Nephthys go and pick up the pieces. They can only find 13. Why this number is associated with Isis. 13 is 13 lunar cycles in a year, and the moon has to do with the feminine. I believe on the 13th day of a woman has her, if she's in line with her menstrual cycle, it goes to the number 13. So it goes with the feminine. 13 is a stepping out of the 12. It's a number of victory almost, because you step out of the 12, that circle of samsara. So when you hit 13, you've gotten up above it, and then you ride it like a unicycle. Ride it like a unicycle. You see that on the Joker card of decks of cards, which is coming over from the Fool card in the Tarot, which is either 0 or 22, which is at the last. And that's why year 2022, they've done everything by the Tarot. 19 is the Sun card on the Tarot, the Corona, and that's when we had COVID-19. 20, the X, Judgment. XX creates the Star of David, which is the hexagon, the sexagram. The sexagon is ruled by Venus. Venus is Ishtar, Astarte, also the goddess of war. That's why in my astrological video, as we, I did a prediction as we came into 2022 that it equals a 6, and so the year would have characteristics of Venusian type things. Also because we have Taurus as the north node, Taurus ruled by Venus. So I said, well, Venusian themes. And then what's in Taurus? Uranus. Uranus is a great disruptor. So Earth, Taurian things being disrupted. The goddess of war, Ishtar, Astarte, Venus being highlighted. So there's a greater chance of war. Bam. Saturn, the great constrictor in Aquarius. Aquarius, the masses. In a square to Taurus, a 90-degree angle. 9, the number of Mars. So it's going to have a Martian energy conflict. The great masses of people with constriction together with a great disruption, uneasiness in Earth. Earth being also our material sources, resources. Restriction of resources through shocks, surprises, inevitable things, seemingly accidents. Uranus is the great upsetter when he's involved. And then when he's especially in an aspect of conflict. But through that conflict, we get change and growth. 2 negatives just make nothing. A negative and a positive, they create the third, which is experience, which is 3, the number of Jupiter, which is why Jupiter is in charge of wisdom. Why? It's called the guru in India, because wisdom is gained from experience, ideally. So now we just finished a 12-year circumnavigation of Jupiter around our sun, which is, it spends a year in each sign. And so it takes, on the ecliptic, so it takes a total of 12 years to go around. Jupiter is who gives us our counting by 12. That's why we divide the heavens up into 12, I believe. And because of numerical, geometric reasons and laws, I'm sure. So it just finished up its 12-year trip, and it started again in Aries. New life for the king. A new king is born. Hallelujah. Think about what was happening 12 years ago from today. Another thing to go back on is 18, because the nodes of the moon, which is where we get our ecliptics from, goes around every 18 years and switches from the north to the south in 9. This is why 18, 1 plus 8 equals 9, but 18 is, look back 18 years now, let's see what was happening, and 18 is the number of the tarot card of the moon because of that. In Kabbalah, the ecliptic, with the nodes, with the eclipses, where the moon and the sun come together on not just longitude, but not just latitude, but longitude, and vice versa. So their shadows actually cross with the sun, with the Earth in the middle. Pretty magical. Anyways, that's the snake eating its own tail, the Ouroboros theme, as well as like regeneration. Okay, yeah, so I just gave you a big secret about why the moon card is number 18. The tarot has lots of esoteric wisdom in it, and they use it against us. They got religious people so scared to learn astrology. They got them scared to even look up to the heavens and learn anything. I can't believe I was so brain effed by religion. For something always inside of me had that rebel spirit. Uranus is a planet of rebellion, independence. Why? Because it was discovered after Saturn. Saturn's a black cube of time and space. This experience, the 3D, the carbon realm. Lead is Saturn, heaviness, density. So Uranus is the king of the heavens who broke out of that matrix. That's why Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Pluto would be the higher octave of Mars. Neptune, the higher octave of Venus. And they are slower moving planets that are generational, not as personal, more in the subconscious, the higher heavens, not so much in Middle Earth. The personal planets being Mercury, our mind, Venus, our desire, Mars, our passion. And this passion and desire, they have a very close relationship, which is why Mars and Venus do. And then Mercury is the one who works up the middle, who's the magician, who brings them two together. It's the two snakes copulating on a stick, the caduceus. And that is also Isis and Nephthys, twin kites, flying up the phallic, the 14th part of Osiris, fashioned by Mercury, which is the nervous system that we could work through concentration, mental visualization, practice, charity. We bring this light to our fluids. Our nervous system brings up this stored energy, this coiled up like serpent hydra, dragging up our spine, our pole, to the North Pole, slaying Draco, and then getting to the pole star where we are even in equilibrium, and we can't let anything fuck with us here because we are beyond light and dark, death and life. We are beyond that shit. I'm beyond all that fuck shit. Okay, so have a great got an eclipse. This is gonna be like a Kundalini awakening. Somebody said if you want to awaken your Kundalini, your virile energy, awaken this dormant dragon, and then rise it up to the top of the ivory tower to release the virgin, anointed with the virgin oil. Moshiach, Messiah, means anointed. It's when we've raised up our chrism through, I believe, not being a jerk off too and spilling your seed. You raise it up through praise. We raise this. It's a fiery flying serpent, which is what the word seraphim translates into. It is good that we are here learning all this shit. Lots of the stories in the Bible are metaphysical. Aquarians, what I'm starting, this is the wake movement, but if you're a part of this movement, you are a metaphysician. If you learn how to awaken, we're an electromagnetic fucking ball of energy. The physical that we could see or touch, bodies, is maybe 1% of what the fuck's going on here. What we've become rational and we use reason to discern what's reality, but then we've been fucking co-opted into a materialistic, nihilistic view of this world where we're just here to use it, fucking rape it, and not acknowledging that there's whatever's here is living, is animated with spirit and has a consciousness that we're very much a part of. So let us have our intention to be more conscious of the fucking beauty in this world and others, and let us be a light. Fucking beauty. A fountain of grace, art you.